everyone. So we're doing the weekly astrology check-in. The last one was up until the 4th, but I discussed that there would only be a movement around the 3rd and the rest is sort of free-flowing, the same sort of planets and transitions during the week up until the 6th or 7th. So I mentioned I might not do a full astrology, but I'm tapping in to give you a bit more for this week, and I'm going to focus on the moon phases. The 3rd, which is, as I'm recording this, for some of you it'll be the 3rd evening, some of you it'll be going into the 4th, some of you afternoon of the 4th, depending where you are. And so it applies to you all because the energies are felt within that day, the day after, and some of these, like for example, I mentioned in the last astro update, which I'll link below, I mentioned about Mercury entering Taurus on the 3rd. So that will stay there until the end of May, because actually it goes into retrograde around the 7th of April, pre-shadow retrograde for 2 weeks until the 21st of April. And then it will go into retrograde in Taurus until I think the 14th of May, and then it's post-shadow retrograde until the end of May. So that is not just something that's going to be felt on the 3rd. It's going, and then obviously Mercury its movement into Taurus on the 3rd, but then it's felt, and then there's a retrograde as well. But we'll discuss that as we go along. So today, the 3rd, I also mentioned in the last astro update, is that the moon will be in Virgo. So I said it was a great time to, get organized, maybe declutter, do anything that organizes your routine, focus on yourself, your health, maybe even your schedule for this week. And Mercury entering Taurus is also squaring Pluto in Aquarius. So it's a good time to get in touch with yourself and understand the reasons you do the things you do, but just avoid pushing your thoughts and ideas on others, because they're not likely to be receptive or easily accepted. So, I mean, Mercury entering Taurus and squaring Pluto in Aquarius can be intense financial news, power struggles and rebellion, obsessive intrusive dreams, recognizing harmful thought patterns to heal them, speaking your truth, honest communication, but very not in a harsh, brash way, and intense conversations as well, because it's squaring Pluto. And on the 3rd going into sort of the 4th, we still have Virgo moon going into the 4th, but on the 3rd going into the 4th, mainly Earth moons might find this, might feel these elements the most. So Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, if you're a moon sign in that, you might feel it the most. And Mercury is about sound discernment, honest communication, alignment, and with Saturn and the moon in Virgo, it's going to be like, what's wrong with something? So you focus on the wrong as opposed to focusing on what's working. So some of us might have been focusing on what's not working today, what is working, focusing on the problem as opposed to the solution. So you might have felt that today, you might be feeling it going into the 4th as well. So that's, it's easy to be led down a rabbit hole basically with this energy. Now, going into Tuesday, we don't have a planet shift the 4th, but Virgo is in the moon. And by Wednesday morning, it moves into Libra, all right? And Wednesday, sort of midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, Mercury also sextiles Saturn in Pisces. Now, just an element, when we've got Mars in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces, forget Cancer and Pisces for a moment. Mars and Saturn are great, productive energy, give us the energy to go after our goals, to do what we need to do, to actually get that drive of productivity and what we need to do. Let's just put the candle on my side table closer. I like to see the flame. So it's easier to see what works and what doesn't, and it allows us to take action and change things up. Additionally, the full moon that's coming up on Thursday in Libra, which I will let you know, helps resolve and harmonize relationships. So I'll dive into that. But on the Tuesday, it's a positive aspect with Virgo moving, the moon moving from Virgo into Libra at the start on Tuesday is positive with Pluto in Aquarius, but it might be intense with Jupiter that's in Aries, and a challenge aspect with Mars in Cancer. And this is going to be probably felt the most by moon air signs. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. If you're a moon sign in that, you might feel these things the most. The moon and Pluto, moon in Libra and then Pluto in Aquarius means intuitive. It's quite intuitive. You might get a gut feeling around stuff, especially around relationships, because Libra is about balancing that and harmonizing it. The moon across Mars in Cancer basically may mean your patience is a bit limited, all right? So focus on your intention so that you can focus on the outcome and the intention so that you can avoid the limited impatientness, minimize that impatientness where you're feeling a bit impatient. And then we head into, also we've got Mercury with the North Node. So that means there's also, as we head into Thursday, clear sight on what we want to do, the path we want to take, alignment, and taking that path, you know, because of the North Node, there's clarity. Before I forget, for this week, what's important are very similar to last week. Check where Taurus and Cancer is in your charts, what houses. They might be the houses that are most affected. So for example, if you're a Taurus 5th house, or let's say 6th house, then it's going to be about health and well-being, okay? So just check where that is. Secondary would be Pisces and Aries. And then obviously check your sun, moon, rising, and Venus. But in this reading, because it's an update, I'm not going to be doing elemental, spiritual, inner guidance and healing themes like I normally do. The recent one has just been posted, which is up until about the 7th, 8th, possibly a bit more. When energy shifts, I'll be doing probably by the following week, which is around the 10th, there'll be a new elemental theme for the signs. So the one that has just been uploaded, which I'll link below as well, check that out. It's really important to navigate themes and for your spiritual growth. And then as we head into Wednesday, so Wednesday at 4:34 Universal AM is the full moon peaks, okay? And it's a Libra full moon, and air signs will definitely feel it. Aries will feel it as well. But it should be, you know, full moons are about releasing, but this one's probably going to be around, I think I forgot about the 5th. No, yeah. The 5th moving into the 6th is Libra full moon. Wellness, self-care, harmonizing our relationships. And yeah, Sun conjunct Chiron was what I wanted to mention. So a peaceful resolution, balance of people pleasing as well, because you've got Aries and you've got Libra. Aries is me, focusing on me. Libra is focusing on others. There's a balance there. You're going to harmonize your relationships. They're healing. There might be relationships that you realize I need to let go of because it's a full moon. There's a release. Okay. On the 5th as well, before the 6th, because some of us will have the full moon on the 6th. Like I'll have it on the 6th. Some of you will have it on the 5th. So it depends where you are. 11:34. It might also cause you, I'm just looking at the planets, to second guess things, especially around relationships and balance and what's working and what's not working. So if you feel you're getting a bit paranoid with that, it might be best not to make any decisions, but just to notice that I'm feeling a bit paranoid. It might be around this, but overall, it should be a good energy with the Libra full moon. So it's the context of relationships. Are you healing? Are you growing? Is it balanced? It can bring a lot of healing relationships that can release relationships that no longer work, can heal wounds that are keeping you stuck in old relationship patterns overall. And then I was mentioning about the Sun conjunct Chiron on the 5th, which I do want to go into. Wounds can be triggered this week and may vary, acting impulsively, particularly out of anger. Take the time instead to reflect on what is coming up for you and what has caused it. This can lead to the growth and the breakthroughs. As you can see, there's a lot of elements here, depending where we are in our growth, in our life. You know, some of us might be single. So the focus might be wounds of, you know, are we lovable? How can we get out there and develop relationships? Have we got certain perceptions that we've had from the way we've been treated in love or partnerships or relationships, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whatever it is? And then, you know, I mentioned, obviously the full moon will still be felt on the 6th and the 7th. And also on the 6th, I mentioned about Mercury and the North Node, which is Thursday. And this can bring very important, perhaps, just make sure it's Thursday. I'm sure it's Thursday, the 6th. Yeah. Perhaps destined conversations, texts, emails, letters, DMs, news. It can also bring clarity of thought, like I said, on where you want to go, your direction, understanding your next chapter. You might want to jot down any ideas if you've been feeling a bit lost around that. So that's really the 6th. The next big one would be the next sort of big, before I'll move on to the moon, but the next sort of movement of the planet is when Venus enters Gemini. So it comes out of Taurus and it'll enter Gemini, and that will be around romance and friendships, and I'll dive a bit deeper in that. But basically our social lives and romantic prospects. But brace yourself after that, because there'll be sudden shifts and surprises by April the 19th when we've got a new moon and solar eclipse. And don't forget, I mentioned about the 7th, we've got the pre-Mercury shadow retrograde as well. So there's some movements happening on around the 7th is a big day, 6th and 7th. Friday, which is the 7th, the moon moves through Scorpio. So basically, this could mean that mostly Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces feel it the most, moon signs. You might not feel it. Nobody might not feel it. Often I tend to feel the moon when it moves in Scorpio. I feel it quite heavy. But air signs, air moon signs, you can finally breathe a little bit. And it forms a positive aspect with Mars in Cancer, so our intuition might be heightened. But there is a challenging aspect with Venus in Taurus. Now, during this time, Saturn sometimes might bring in a mother figure or an elder mother, female figure that provides you with advice. I would listen to that sound advice. It's brought in for a reason. But with the challenge with Venus in Taurus, you might feel heightened conflict, dissatisfaction in relationships. So it's important not to take anything personal this time, and maybe just see if it's your heightened emotions. Then on Saturday, still the moon is moving in Scorpio. And by Sunday and Monday, which I believe is the 9th and 10th, like I said, Venus enters Gemini, and it's about romance, friendships, a lot of communication, going out. I'll dive into that. It's really about boosting our social lives and romantic relationships. So that I will dive into. But it's good. It's not a negative. It's not something that's going to be of a challenge or a square. Now, like I said, so Sag is overall Sunday, Monday, the moon moves through Sag. Overall positive. It might be a challenge because Neptune is in Pisces, which is also about lusty dreams, delusions, and the moon fire signs will feel this the most. Aries, Leo, and Sag. But there's a great energy with the Sun and Jupiter. Sun in Aries, Jupiter in Aries. And this could also mean there's boosts in social media. There's boosts in things that are, you've been trying to work on that are finally going to work out on your favor, and you're going to see glimpses of, or they're going to arrive. Business also, in terms of work, career, and business, depending what route you're in. Now, like I said, Neptune is about dreams, delusions. So pay attention to communication. If you're in doubt about any communication you're giving out or you're receiving, ask, don't perceive, because of Neptune. That's really, really important to make sure we clear up any communication. Now, by the 10th is Monday, so by the 11th, we will have, some of you will be the 10th, some of you will be the 11th, we will actually have the new weekly astrology. And with that, there'll be the elemental spiritual guidance that I'll give you for your themes as well. But like I said, I'm linking the current one that I mentioned will be, is applicable definitely until the 7th of the moon. And that's when, because if you're aware of my readings, I don't record in advance. Maybe I should, but I believe in being within the right energy and giving you the energy of your reading at the same time. If we're believing that planets in the universe affect our energy, how can I do you a reading from January delivering it now? And maybe that's the right thing to do for some. And I see that the majority of tarot readers that have hundreds and thousands of Ks of followers have that, so it is working. For me, maybe that's a slight perfection, and maybe that's a slight wrong thing, but I don't know. I like to operate in a very transparent and integrous way, and so I just like to make sure that everything is sort of aligned with the energies. And that's why also my weeklies are not exactly Sunday to Monday or Monday to Sunday, because if there's no shift, then there's not a need to, but you'll always find that I overlap. So I did the last one up until the 3rd and 4th, but I discussed Libra, saying heads up, Libra's coming in around the 6th, and what was on the 7th, and here I am on the 3rd recording, overlapping, and I'm taking you up until the 10th. And the 10th there'll be some movement. By the way, Pallas Athena is still in Cancer, which I discussed in the previous energy readings around femininity, around the healing around that. Do check those out. But really, there's the pre-shadow retrograde, and then the bigger event comes around the 19th, the new moon and solar eclipse, which I believe is going to be powerful, and I hope it's going to be as exciting as we should hope it to be. So that is the reading, and that's why I also dived into the moon this week, because I felt with it being a shorter sort of update, I'll tell you about how you may be feeling in terms of the moon changing every day, and you might not feel it, so don't, it's just giving you that awareness, isn't it? So take care, do check your elemental energy theme updates and inner healing guidance. I do have some readings that I'm working on right now, which are navigating the rest of the year for your individual signs. I'm starting with those signs that have shown most gratitude, subscribers, and that's why I do ask what your sign is, likes and views, and they will be the first signs to go up. There will be further elemental check-in readings as well. Do check your April, do check last week's astrology for the end part. of this overlapping, and also do check the elemental energy healing themes like I mentioned. I'll see you in our next reading. Check the pick a card reading for what's love and next if you're what's next in love if you're interested. I'll be doing another pick a card reading as well, probably by next week. Take care and bye for now.